So one night I remember my stepmom calls me. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I just opened up my barbershop and I'm super tired. And she calls me and she says, come to the party. Whose was it? Margie's 50th birthday. So October 2016 we met, and it was in Palo Alto? Whatever. Margie's party. Went to a party, tried talking to her, but she was just I thought she was being shy. So I was just like, you shy, huh?
I was being shy.
Yeah, you were. She wasn't giving me no play. It's just like, our parents kept trying to get us to meet. Yeah. So then in January, so we had found each other on social media.
We were just kind of like short talking back and forth. And then the next week, I met with his mom, Elva, and his sister. And after we got done eating, Yasari was saying, like, oh, I was just going to go and see F. Like, we should continue this party and go to his barbershop. So I was a little hesitant, but we went to his barbershop, and he was so super surprised to see me. Like,
oh, yeah. Also, prior to that, probably, I can't remember if it was a year or 2 years. This is crazy. This is the crazy part. I was doing my vision board for my goals for my life. How I wanted, my physique, my career, my lifestyle, how I wanted it to be. And so after I did that on my laptop, I was like, you know what? I remember my pastors had told me, like, pray for very detailed things. Like, pray how you want this, how you want that. And so that's where the vision board kind of came in place. And so then I was like, you know what? While I'm here doing this for my vision, my goals and my vision board, I'm going to do the same thing for my wifey. And so, as crazy as it sounds, I opened up a folder on my desktop. I started praying and putting together these images from Google, very particular images about how I wanted my wife, my future wife. And I said, God, if I'm going to get married, this is how it's going to be. So I prayed for her eyes, her skin tone, her hair, the length, her physique, her apparel, and her smile. Did I say smile already?
No.
Okay. And her smile. And so aside from those physical things, I also prayed for four other qualities. I gotta meet her at church. She has to be a godly woman, a woman that follows Christ, that goes to church, that is invested in the relationship with God. So that was number one, and that was must. Like, there was no like ifs, but substitutes, nothing. Follower of God. I either had to meet her at the library. I wanted to go back to college, and
the gym.
Or the gym. Yes, thank you. And so for me, I can't remember how it came up, but somebody asked me, like, once we got further and deeper into the relationship, I think the question was, like, how do you know? Because I would mention, like, I want to marry her and she's the one. Like, how do you know? And I'm like, you know what? Like, now that I think about it, like, I prayed for this. Like, I legit prayed for it. And so I went back to my laptop, pulled up the images, and I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I'm looking at all the, the pictures, the eyes, the smile, the skin tone, the hair, the physique, the apparel. And I'm just like, dang, like, this is crazy. Like, this, like, I can't ignore this. And so, she goes to church, which was the number one reason why I decided to engage in a conversation or reach out or talk to. And she graduated from UC Davis, so that covers going to school and meeting in a library. And then when I met her, she was playing volleyball, which for me was important that she was active, so we can both be active together and have this healthy lifestyle together. And so after realizing that all that tied in together, I was just kind of amazed, like, how powerful prayer is. That was my sign to, like, go.
So when he reached out to me because I was in town, he said, let's go out. So we went out. We had a really fun time. And that day he was like, I want to see you again tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And then so he came out to SAC the next day. And then after that day, he's like, there's just something about you, like, that I want to know so much more. Like, since then, like, every weekend when I was going back, we were hanging out and talking every day. So it was kind of like an
Literally.
instant, like, we were on the phone all the time, seeing each other every chance we got. And we would even, like, call each other and meet each other in Tracy halfway because we just wanted to see each other, and it wasn't the weekend yet.
Oh, man.
So the reason why I ended my last relationship was because I was following God and I was committed to God. And I decided that I wanted to be celibate because that was one of the areas in my life where I felt I wasn't fully committed to God. And I was kind of, like, my mom would tell me, like, you can't be one step in heaven and one step out. Like, I'm living this life where I want to be so close to God, and at the same time, I'm not following all of His commandments. So I decided I wanted to be celibate, and in my previous relationship, my ex-boyfriend, he didn't want to continue the relationship because of that. So that ended, and I just started reading all these books on celibacy, and I felt a lot better just knowing that I could fully commit my life to God at this point. So that happened before I had met him. So I was already on a journey of celibacy. So when I met him, I remember him telling me that he had thought of being celibate, which I think's crazy.
Yeah, so much that I wanted to do that included being celibate. Like, I even called a friend, a female friend that I was going to church with, and I felt so embarrassed to ask her. And I was like, yo, I felt the need to be, like, I felt like God was just telling me, like, you need to be celibate, you know. And so I called my friend and I asked her, like, yo, I got a question for you. And I asked her, and she was just like, oh my God, that's so good, and just going off. And I'm like, shut up, man, like how do you do it, like, and just intrigued and asking questions. And I think, like, all these little things added up to, like, being obedient to God, her on her end and me on mine, and just, like, God was, like, preparing us for each other, you know what I'm saying. And she had gone through her relationship, her previous relationship, and all these ups and downs, and her life trials, and so was I. And, like, I'm just trying to get closer to God and build my relationship with God, and all these little things that, like, God was working in our lives individually so that He can bring us together. And it's just crazy because we literally, like, hold the other half of each other's heart, like, literally, like, it's crazy, right?
Celibacy is already not a very common thing. So the fact that not only he accepted to be celibate with me, but that he was actually interested in being celibate before he even met me was something huge.
We got to know each other personally, and then we connected spiritually, I like to say. And that is what keeps us together, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, our physical is going to change, you know, when we get older. And the fact that we're able to love each other from the inside out, that I've never experienced that before.
It's all about being obedient to God, because I didn't know anything about celibacy or why it would be good for us, but I did feel God pulling on my heart to be celibate. And when I was opening my Bible, I kept reading, you know, there's no room for sexual immorality in heaven. So that's what I say when he was talking to me. I was opening my Bible and I was reading that. So I felt that it was for me. So he was telling me to do this, and had I not listened to him in giving that part of my life up, I wouldn't even be here with him. I would still be, you know, in another relationship. So I think it's very important, you know, when you feel God telling you to do something or give something up, it really is because he has something better in store for you. Like, he knows your heart, he knows you better than anybody knows you, and he knows what you need. So he knew that we needed this and that we were capable of doing it, because it's a very difficult thing to do. So once we have this foundation, it's much easier just to work around all the other things. And we've just been blessed that God has been guiding us into this pathway, and we complement each other.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what a relationship is about, like helping each other be a better you, and really improving each other.
First, I told Susie, I'm going to marry your daughter. I think she was the first one I told. I said, I'm going to marry your daughter. And she said, oh, okay.
Like, how long do you think that was from when we started dating?
It was almost instant, really. And like, when people say, when you find the one, you'll know, there is no other words besides those words. When you find the one, you'll know.
A lot of people think that it's too soon, but really for us, we have to be confident in what we have, because if we aren't, then why should anybody else? So we're very confident that, you know, there's no equation for how it's supposed to be 5 years, 10 years, 2 months. You know, we just know that God has called us to this relationship.
I think that's where the biggest blessing generates from, is being obedient to God and trusting God that He's going to take care of it. You know, God makes promises, and as long as you are obedient and do as you're told, you know, God will bless you. You know, and that's the hardest part, is trusting God. Like, desire to pursue a better lifestyle and God and change up her life was gonna steer me away. But if anything, like, I was more like, cool, let's do this together. Like, I'm trying to do that too.
And I started drinking very young. It's part of our culture. And I started realizing that I was drinking all the time. I remember telling my mom that I wanted to stop, but I knew that I wasn't really going to. And it was really a blessing. When I met him, he told me, like, oh, I don't drink. And he had just quit a week before, but I didn't really know why or what was going on. And I was just kind of like, why? And he's like, oh, you know, just for myself. And I thought he was kind of crazy. But out of respect for him, I didn't want to drink in front of him because he had just quit. So I thought, you know, if you're not going to drink, I won't drink in front of you. But we were hanging out all the time, so it kind of turned into, like, I'm just going to not drink because I actually already wanted to do that. And now you're giving me a reason to do that. And it was motivation for me. So I stopped drinking when we met, and I haven't gotten drunk since, which is crazy because I used to be all the time. So I think that's, you know, it was really a blessing that he was sober, because I didn't even see myself being sober. And to me, it was like a miracle that I'm able to live this lifestyle. I don't miss it. You know, like, I'm too busy building relationships, reading books, investing in myself, that I don't miss the alcohol part of it. And I can still do all the things that are important to me without it.
Knowing that even if I make myself vulnerable to my wife, that doesn't make me less of a man. And knowing that about myself boosts my confidence, and also learning how to be a gentleman. That is not taught nowadays. I wasn't taught that, but going through my relationships, I had to learn that women deserve that. You know what I'm saying? And after hanging out with her, like, without hesitation, without even thinking about it, I just naturally turned into this gentleman that I didn't even know I could be. And that was really important for me, because I wasn't able to be that in my previous relationships, and
always opening the door for me. I had never had that before, so I was surprised.
And I was surprised too. You know what I mean? I was surprised with myself. I look at myself in the mirror.
The car door, not, the door.
I want to live to inspire others, men and women, to engage with each other and love each other and bring those barriers down that do not allow you to connect. And don't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Take a chance, but trust in God, ultimately. You know what I'm saying? And invite God into your relationship, because that ultimately is the reason why this is possible. And so being a Genesis, prideful man that wouldn't cry, that wouldn't be vulnerable, that wouldn't show anything soft. And I just think that putting all that aside and letting God into your relationship, into your heart, and trusting that no matter what the world says, as long as you know who you are, that's who you are. You know what I'm saying? And don't be afraid to take a leap of faith into God and into your relationship, and indulge in this love that waits for you on the other side. We just want to thank everybody for being here with us and sharing this love with you guys. And I look forward to living the rest of my life with my beautiful woman, Anais Villalobos, enjoying the love and making sure that God's dead center of the relationship, and just being with her, really. I can't leave her side. That's all it